What's going on, people? Well, it looks like the death of Yeezys is finally upon us, right? At least that's how it looks. I mean, once they start selling stuff for half price, and they start staying on the website forever, that's kind of where my mind is, right? But again, we'll see in like another 5 or 6 months or whatever, if they do some big, like, oh, look, we found some more. Here's some just in time for Christmas, right? I honestly would not be surprised, but we'll worry about that later on or whatever. But honestly, I think that I'm good. I have all the 350s that I want. I'm pretty sure, very sure, right? And even if I don't, I have enough that I wouldn't care. And then as far as the other models, I'm good on those too, right? These, as you see, these aren't even like ones that I've been big into in the past. I'm just getting them now because I figured like I can clear some thoughts on certain things as far as sizing, whatever. And this one right here, well, this one falls into like a slightly different category, but we'll get into that in a second. Down there, quick shot of the side of the box, whatever, so you kind of have some idea of what we're talking about if you somehow skipped over the thumbnail and the title of the video, right? It happens, maybe, I don't know, probably not. So let's go and do this thing here, huh? On this right here, the Adidas Yeezy Boost 700 V1 in the Enflame Amber colorway. It's a lot of words there, right? Let's see here. So, I originally saw these some time ago. I forget exactly how long ago, but it was a while ago when ACS Sneakers did a video of them, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that happened, right? I was like, well, it's unfortunate because if I had known, I probably would have went for them. And then I just kind of shut it out of my mind until recently when all those restocks happened. And I was like, hey, I remember those. Like, I think I wanted those. So here we are. And I will say this right now, before I forget, this is a purchase that came from StockX. So you got that little X thing over there. You flip it over. You have that thing over there with, if you put a little blacklight action to it, well, actually, I already took a picture, so I don't need to actually do it. But if you put a little blacklight action to it, you can also see another X there. Yeah, so these came from there, right? Because I didn't see, I think they had already sold out on the restock thing before I had noticed them. But they were listed on there at $260, but I had seen on StockX, they were saying that the original price was $240. So I just put a bid for $230, which is like right under there. I'm like, well, we'll just do that and see who takes me up on this, if anybody. If they don't, whatever. And within a day, somebody did. So now here we are, right? And as far as like legit checking or whatever, I'll probably look into that at some point, maybe, but only barely because I kind of don't care, right? And for me, it really just comes down to, since I'm no like shoe guy on that level, right? I don't really know what I'm looking for. I just look at something similar and just kind of compare and contrast. Like, yeah, well, this seems fair, right? Does this one look like that? Yeah, okay. Very simple to me, right? So in case you're wondering if these are fake or I'm gonna like find out or something, or maybe you assume that they are because they came from StockX, who knows? You might be right. I don't know. I'm just gonna look at them, and if they're good enough for me, then that's good enough for me. Is that fair? I think it's fair. So there's that. But before we go getting on into the review piece, one thing I will do is like a real quick comparison for like different models, right? Because like I said, this is the V1, and I do have some shoes laid out down here. So let's start with this one right here. This is the V2, right, in the cream colorway. So as you look at it, right, there's not a whole lot going on there that makes these look too similar. Honestly, you would almost think like it might remind you of something, but they're also like very different. I mean, past the outsole, right, midsole. But when you kind of look in there, you do see some similarities, right? At least to me, that's how I would look at it. I would think it was two totally different things. But once you kind of look at it, I mean, I guess there are some similarities there, especially on the front piece or whatever. But if you've never seen the V2, this is what it looks like, right? I did a full-on, this feels significantly lighter than this one. I did a review on these at some point, so if you care to see more about it, you can. I mean, it's out there, right? Whatever. Do or don't, it honestly does not matter to me and probably shouldn't matter to you either. And this right here is a V3 in the Fade Carbon colorway, right? So this one, this is where it takes like a very significant departure. One, you see that bottom down there? Yeah, there's no boost in it. This one is a boost shoe. I don't know what's in here, but it's not that. And then even when you look at the rest of it, it looks like some weird alien thing going on, right? So yeah, very different look there. The one thing that they do have amongst all three of these though. I guess I can pull the other one up. If you look back on the toe box, they have that little V-shaped thing going on down there, right? So that's something. But otherwise, yeah, it's very different look, right? So there you go. But anyways, and I just bring that up for the people who may not be in the loop or whatever on the different versions. Not going to talk any deeply about them or whatever, just the visual. Getting back to this right here, right? So let's go ahead and jump on into things. We'll start with the bottom and all that stuff. Down there, what are you looking at, right? Well, it looks kind of stupid to me, honestly, this outsole, but that's just my opinion. But otherwise, it's just normal stuff down there for the 700. Got a little bit of boost peeking through because that's how things tend to work, so whatever. And now moving on up here to the midsole and everything, right? When you look at that, same kind of thing, right? You see like a lot of orange, a little bit of black and whatnot. It's something, right? Again, I'm not a big fan of it. Not a big fan of the 700 overall, honestly. But it's a look that works for them, apparently. And then as you take some other looks at these or whatever, yeah, it's a look that I just don't see why people were so big into this, right? And I don't know if it was just the Wave Runner specifically or if it was like the 700 as a model, but people seemed like they cared about these at some point. Not so much anymore, perhaps, but whatever. I'm just showing you these because, you know, I'm not going to do a whole deep review on them and I just want to get you some pictures in there. But I will slip in some other ones as I talk about some things, just to kind of round out your view of them. So one thing I'll lead with is that on this shoe, right, and you probably know this already, but it does have 3M slipped into some bits of the upper. So I do like that because I'm a big fan of 3M, right? It's part of the reason I like the static 350s as much as I do, right? Kind of shallow like that, doesn't take a lot to get my attention. But either way, so just kind of saying that that's a factor in there. If that's a thing you're into, then maybe you'll like these a little bit more. And then as far as like the materials or whatever, starting in the front piece, you're going to see a lot of suede up there. You're going to see some mesh on the top and on the side, right? You can see some more suedes on the side. And then as you look in the middle piece, right, you can kind of see you got the 3 stripes in there surrounded by some leather. So you got that going on. Moving back a little bit again, more that's where like that 3M section was and a little bit of mesh and stuff and some suede. So all in all, it's a pretty complex layering of things in some ways, right? Because it's not so just cut and dry. But you got that happen, right? And then some laces that I will say this right now. These laces are so freaking long and I just don't get it. Like, you see this? Like, what is this? Like, why is there so much of this? Huh? What are they trying to prove? I don't know, but they did it. Now it's here and I just got to deal with it and I don't like it. But I don't know. It's just one of those minor things that like I'm going to complain about now because, you know, I don't like it. But does it really mean anything? Is this going to take away from anything? No, it's really not. I'm just going to tie them back, tuck them in when I wear them, and it's going to be a normal day, right? I'm not even going to notice it. But either way, so there's that piece of it. But what is on the inside? Not a whole lot. Just got this Adidas thing down in there. And one thing I noticed earlier was that they have a little Yeezy branding on the side too. Like on the side of the shoe. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure what that was all about, but they did it. But otherwise, there you go. There's that. That's the Yeezy 700 Enflame, right? So, get you some personal thoughts, which I've already alluded to, and then we'll knock things out with some sizing. Personally, these right here are pretty alright. I saw them, like I said, in ACS Sneakers video, and I thought that they looked pretty cool. And I was like, oh man, it's unfortunate that I missed out on them. And then I completely forgot about them until recently, so maybe I only liked them so much. But I got them. Like I said, all that stuff in the beginning, and now looking at them, yeah, they're pretty nice, right? I'm not gonna say that I'm glad I was able to finally get them or whatever. It's not that serious to me. I still look at this as a model that I don't really care for, but it's the nicest colorway that I think I've seen. But that's just me, right? Because the Wave Runner thing, I just couldn't get into it. I don't know. I just didn't see the appeal that everybody else saw. And I look at this one and think, okay, this is pretty alright, I guess. I'm a fan of it. So maybe other people will be too. It's got a nice little fall sort of look to it. So there is that. But the bright orange, you know, maybe people won't like the bright colors or whatever. But I don't know. For me, it just works for me. And since I was able to get them under retail, like I say, like that's the only time to buy 350s. At or under retail, right? I get like all the processing fees that I kind of took it over retail, honestly. But I'll let that just exist because it's just how the world works. But all in all, yeah, I'm cool with these. But even though I wanted them for like a long time, I'm not gonna sit here and act like, oh my god, wow, this was totally worth the wait, because they're fine. They are. I've got no complaints, but no praising either. So there is that. But whatever. So I will say this before you jump on into the sizing and whatever. Of these shoes, right, just even though they're not all the same or whatever, like looking at these, like this one, visually speaking, is probably like my favorite one, just because I just like this look the most, right? As far as wearability goes, well, comfort wise, that is, I'm honestly leaning towards the 500 over the 700, right? I'm not going to fully commit to that right now, but that's just kind of how I'm feeling, because I don't know, it just felt better overall. Though I think this one is probably the one that, you know, I could just see being worn more often, you know, just overall though, because of like the look. Because this is a little bit much. This is a little bit nothing. But this one, I feel like, I don't know, kind of feel like even though like there's this orange stuff going on down there, just seems like one that could be worn more often. So that's how I feel about all three of these, right? None of them are anything that I think you need to like run out and buy or whatever. I'm just saying in case you're wondering how I feel. I don't want to have to say it again. So there we go, there's that. So, did the personal thoughts thing, now I'm going to do the sizing thing, and then I'm going to be done with videos for no, I'm not. So you got to do my collection video, my quarterly pickup video. Sizing wise, I bought these in a 9.5, right? It's the same size that I bought my last ones in, and I will say this. When I put these on, and I was walking around in them, this toe box felt pretty snug, right? The other one, the Wave Runner one, it didn't feel that way, but I've also worn those like, well, not a lot, so like maybe 3 times, so might have just been enough to kind of break those in a little bit down there. So I will say, like, if you put a pair of these on and they're not feeling so great, maybe give it some time. So like I said, it'll only break in so much, but there's not a whole lot of space in there. So I could see how a lot of people might want to just jump up a half just and get that out of the way, you know what I'm saying? But past that, as far as like the upper and stuff goes, they are pretty nice. You know, all these extra materials up here does make for an extra bit of layering and stuff and heft. But they're nice materials that kind of is comfortable, right? As far as the padding and stuff. But I still think that that's where I would just kind of have to give the edge to that 700. I mean, excuse me, the 500. Now, when you get down to like the midsole piece down there, it's Boost, which is always a good thing. It's a more sturdy Boost, kind of like the Ultra Boost 19 or like a trail running shoe, right? So it's not going to be so squishy like the earlier Ultra Boost or the 350s. So if you're expecting that, just know that that's not what you're going to get here. It doesn't take away from the comfort, it's just like a different approach to comfort, right? So I can't say anything bad about walking around on it. I'm just saying, know what you're getting into before you spend too much money expecting something else, right? I just want to make sure that's out there. But all in all, taking this for what it is, putting these on, spending a day in them or whatever, it won't be a problem for your average person. They look okay, right? But they feel better. So there is that piece of it. So I don't know that I need to give you any more else to think about on that, on the sizing and comfort piece. But one thing that I'm thinking about that I didn't say earlier because I didn't do an actual breakdown of these, the materials here, they aren't as thick and breathable as like some of the other things. Like, you know, you look at the 380 or whatever, and it's, you know, you can see straight into this thing. This one, not so much, right? So there's not going to be a whole lot of breathability as much as like you might have on other shoes. So that could be a factor on like warmer days or something. So I mean, maybe like think about that, like if you're deciding what to wear for the day. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, wherever you are. I have to clean up some stuff, move some things around, then bring a bunch of this stuff back over here and do a quarterly pickup video. So I'm thinking we're looking at what, 16, 17 pairs this time around? So not too bad. Still more than I wanted it to be, but you know, whatever, it happens. Later, people.